Okay, so far we have discussed about the neurovascular structures of the lower limb. Today we'll discuss about the limb drainage, right? Limb drainage of the lower limb, and that is admit. Okay. So first, some introductory things about lymph and lymph nodes, lymph vessels, right? Then we'll plunge into the lower limb lymph nodes. So lymphatic drainage of the lower limb, lymphoid tissue. Lymphocytes are located in many sites in the body. Okay, lymphocytes are WBC, right? Most obviously, at strategic sites that are liable to infection, for example, oropharynx, because through mouth we take many things, right? So the main areas of lymphocyte concentration are classified as the primary and secondary lymphoid organs, right? Primary lymphoid organ means involved in lymphocyte generation. Okay, primary lymphoid organs, example, bone marrow and thymus. Here, lymphocytes originates, right? They generated there. Whereas the secondary lymphoid organs or secondary lymphoid tissue are where the lymphocytes get matured and activated, right? Activated, and the initiation of immune response occurred in the secondary lymphoid organs. For example, lymph nodes, spleen. Okay. So the secondary or peripheral lymphoid organs are the specialized sites where B and T lymphocytes and antigen presenting cells come together to initiate immune responses, right, to foreign antigens. These secondary tissues include, remember the list or observe the list, lymph nodes, right, spleen, and lymphoid tissue associated with epithelial surfaces. It is called as MALT, right, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. For example, palatine and nasopharyngeal tonsils are Peyer's patches in the small intestines and lymphoid nodules in the respiratory and urogenital system. All of these are examples of secondary lymphoid tissues, right, including all lymph nodes, right. So lymphocytes enter secondary lymphoid tissues from the blood. Okay, that means lymphocytes enter lymph nodes or spleen or any tonsils or Peyer's patches, usually by migration through the walls of capillaries or venules. Okay, these venules are called as high endothelial venules and leave by lymphatic system. Antigen presenting cells enter via lymphatics, bringing with them antigen from the peripheral infected sites, dendritic cells. So in all the secondary tissues, there are specific areas where either B or T cells are concentrated. After activation, functionally competent lymphocytes migrate to other sites in the body where they combat original infection. So whenever the lymphocytes get activated, it migrates to another site, right? All of these you will encounter again in the immune system, right? Coming to the lymph nodes, all of this is just a precursory cursory node, that's it. Lymph nodes are encapsulated, okay, remember that, encapsulated centers of antigen presentation and lymphocyte activation, differentiation and proliferation. So antigen presentation, lymphocyte activation, differentiation, proliferation. That means lymphocytes get proliferated become many, okay, which are facilitated by complex trafficking of cells and lymphatic flow through the structure. So that is called as a lymph node. They generate mature antigen primed B and T cells and filter particles including microbes from the lymph by the action of the numerous phagocytic macrophages. So this lymph node already has a concentrated lymphocytes or mature lymphocytes, right, like phagocytic macrophages, which filter different microbes and then everything. A normal young adult body contains up to 450 lymph nodes, out of which 60 to 70 are found in the head and neck, 100 in the thorax, and as many as 250 in the abdomen and pelvis. Okay. So lymph nodes are particularly numerous in the neck, mediastinum, posterior abdominal wall, abdominal mesentery, admittal, abdominal mesentery, pelvis, proximal regions of the limbs, right? So inguinal lymph nodes. By far the greatest number lie close to the viscera, especially in the mesenteries. Coming to the microstructure of the lymph nodes are small, oval, kidney-shaped bodies, 0.1 to 2 centimeter long, lying along the course of the lymphatic vessels. Okay, that means if this is a lymph, okay, like that. So like that, the lymph nodes will be arranged along the course of the lymphatic vessels. Each usually has a slight indentation on one side, the hilum, through which blood vessels enter and leave, and efferent lymphatic vessel leaves. Okay, remember efferent. Efferent means exiting. Okay, efferent means entering. Several efferent with A lymphatic vessels enter the capsule around the periphery. Okay, lymph nodes have a highly cellular cortex and a medulla, which contains a network of minute lymphatic channels, sinuses. Medulla has sinuses through which lymph from the efferent lymphatics is filtered to be collected at the hilum by efferent lymphatic. The cortex is absent at the hilum, where the medulla reaches the surface. The capsule is composed mainly of collagen fibers, elastin and few fibroblasts. Trabeculae of dense connective tissue extend radially into the interior of the node from the capsule. They are continuous with a network of type 3 collagen, okay, to form a very dense network in the cortex, providing attachment to various cells, mostly dendritic cells, macrophages, and lymphocytes. So this is a microstructure of the what do you call it, a lymph node. Okay, so you see this is the cortex. Okay, cortex is not present at hilum. Okay, this is the hilum where blood vessels and the efferent vessel, efferent lymphatic vessel, that means the vessel which is exiting from the lymph node. Okay, it is taking all the lymph from here to the next right, you see. So there are many efferent vessels, okay, openings, and you see this is the capsule, and the capsule is indented as a trabeculae, right, and it has cortex and medulla and has a paracortex, right, and medulla has different medullary sinuses, right. So lymph, they collect intravascular tissue fluid, intravascular, not intravascular, interstitial fluid, right. Interstitial fluid comes into the lymph node through efferent vessels, right, become filtered, concentrated, many things happen, and then again collected into this efferent vessel, right. I hope you understand this. Okay, so this is a lymph node of human showing cortex and medulla. Okay, this is the whole of this is cortex, CCC, right, CCCCC. This is medulla, right. So V is vessels. You see, these are the vessels, blood vessels. right? So you see again this one, it has, so this is the hilum, right? So where efferent is exiting, right, and receiving blood like this, right? So lymphatics, lymph nodes are permeated by channels through which lymph percolates after its entry from the afferent vessels. The conduit system consists of collagen fibers and associated fibrils surrounded by fibroblastic reticular cells, forming a sponge-like reticulum that provides not only spaces for the lymphocytes but also a system for the transport of antigen and signaling molecules like chemokines, that control the highly dynamic movement and interaction of the immune cells, right? So dendritic cells can reach inside the conduit to sample antigen and then present to immune cells. Afferent lymphatic vessels enter at many points. Okay, there are many afferents, right? On the periphery, branch to form a dense intracapsular plexus and then open into the subcapsular sinus, a cavity that is peripheral to the whole cortex except at the hilum. So that is paracortex. Numerous radial cortical sinuses lead from the subcapsular sinus to the medulla, where they coalesce as largely medullary sinuses. So subcapsular sinus in the paracortex, then again in medullary sinus in the medulla. The latter become confluent at hilum with different vessels that drains the node. Okay, so these confluent together. Somebody. Okay. Arteries and veins serving lymph nodes pass through the hilum, giving off straight branches that traverse the medulla and send out minor as they do so. In the cortex, arteries form a dense arcades of arterioles and capillaries in numerous anastomosing loops, eventually returning to highly branched venules and veins. Capillaries are especially profuse around the follicles, which contain few vessels. Post-capillary HEVs are abundant in the paracortical zones. They form an important site of blood-borne lymphocyte extravasation into the lymphoid tissue. So lymphocytes are extravased into the lymphoid tissue apparently by migration through the labile endothelial tight junctions. That means through occluding junctions and joinular adherentes. The density of the capillary beds increases greatly when lymphocytes multiply in response to the antigenic stimulation. Veins leave a node through its principal trabeculae and capsule and drain them at the surrounding connective tissue. So you see, this is the connective tissue here. Okay, blue. All of this is connective tissue. Okay, tissue, right? Connective tissue. So this is artery. Okay, this is capillary, and again this is venule, right? So while this is the blood is flowing through like this, okay, some fluid will be in the tissue, right? The whole of the tissue fluid in the tissue, so interstitial fluid is collected via this lymphatics, okay, lymphatic capillary. So this is how the lymph collects into the lymphatic duct, right? So it flowed, all of this interstitial fluid, okay, coming like that. So you see, so lymph is connecting and going to the lymph node from different afferent vessels, exiting through only one efferent, okay, finally ending in thoracic duct, right? So whenever this balance is imbalanced, get imbalanced, insufficient lymphatic drainage leads to accumulation of fluid in the tissue, edema, and swelling typically in the limbs, okay? It is called as lymphedema. In the developed world, secondary lymphedema, that means secondary to some disease or secondary to some effect, is most commonly consequence of treatment for cancer, particularly breast cancer. following either surgical removal of lymph nodes and vessels or the drainage of radiation therapy. Tumors can themselves cause lymphedema if they compress and block lymph nodes, lymph vessels. Lymph node infections can also restrict lymph flow. In tropical regions, invasion of the lymphatic vessels, right, by thread-like nematodes, nematode worms, filariasis, okay, Wuchereria bancrofti, can lead to severe swelling, particularly in the legs and genitals, called as elephantiasis, right? Elephantiasis. Bodakalu, it is called as bodakalu. Podoconiosis, right, is a non-filarial elephantiasis endemic to the tropical highland areas of the Africa and elsewhere. It is thought to be due to an abnormal inflammatory reaction to volcanic red clay. Okay, so the clay is from the volcanic eruption. So whenever they work in the fields, so this is podoconosis. Okay, this is not filariasis. Podoconosis. Observe that this is again podoconosis. Okay, so this is non-filarial elephantiasis, right? Because of the volcanic red clay. Coming to the our topic, lymphatic drainage of the lower limb. Okay, this is the whole lymphatic drainage overview of the lymphatic system, right? Lymph nodes, different lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels. Okay, going there. So most of the lymph nodes from the lower limb is drained into the inguinal lymph nodes, either directly or indirectly through the popliteal and anterior tibial nodes. So most of the lymph is from through the inguinal lymph nodes via popliteal and anterior tibial nodes. However, deep structures of the gluteal region and upper part of the back of the thigh are drained into internal iliac nodes, right? So lymph nodes are two types, superficial and deep. Superficial lymph nodes are superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Deep lymph nodes are deep inguinal lymph nodes, popliteal nodes and anterior tibial nodes. Okay, we will discuss them in detail. Superficial inguinal nodes. These are present in the superficial fascia of the inguinal region. Okay, you all see that in the dissection. They are arranged in two groups. Okay, upper and lower. They are resembling the letter T. Okay, upper horizontal group contains 5 or 6 nodes which lie below the inguinal ligament. Right. So totally there are 10 lymph nodes in the inguinal region. So lateral members of upper group 2 to 3 nodes receive efferent. Okay, remember that efferent from gluteal region, upper part of the lateral side of the thigh, flank and back of the abdominal wall below the umbilical plane, right? The medial members, okay, medial members of the upper group receive efferent from subcutaneous tissue of the anterior abdominal wall below the umbilicus. So below the umbilicus is also draining into the superficial inguinal lymph nodes, right? And also from penis, including prepuce and scrotum in male, and vulva and vagina below the hymen in female. That means reproductive organs. So from lower abdomen and from reproductive organs and from perineum and lower part of the anal canal below the pectinate line, right? And few lymphatics from the superolateral angle of the uterus, which accompany the round ligament of the uterus. So these medial group of lymph nodes, these are lateral, these are medial, and these are vertical, right? Receives some from abdomen, penis, vagina, vulva, perineum, anal canal, and uterus. The lower vertical group consists of 4 to 5 nodes. They are placed along both sides of the terminal part of the great saphenous vein, right? They receive efferent from the skin of fascia of the most of the lower limb. So skin and fascia of the most of the lower limb drained into the lower vertical group of superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, great saphenous territory, except from buttock, which drain into upper lateral group, and the short saphenous territory, which drain into the popliteal node. Right, the efferent, okay, with E, from all the superficial inguinal lymph nodes pierce the cribriform fascia and terminate into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. So these superficial inguinal lymph nodes receive the lymph and terminate in the deep inguinal lymph nodes, right? So these are the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, we have already seen that. You see, different. This is superficial inguinal lymph nodes, superolateral, superficial and superomedial. These are the superomedial, superolateral, and these are the, you see, vertical, inferior nodes, vertical, inferior. So these are the superficial lymph nodes, right? Along with the great saphenous vein. Okay, you see, lateral, medial, and vertical, lower vertical. So this is how the direction of the lymph flow. Okay, like this. Okay, lymph is collecting like this. Okay, collecting like this. Okay, direction, observe the direction. Okay, you see, like the palm of your hand. Okay, into the different lymph groups. Again, this is the posterior aspect. Okay, these are the what do you call it, population lymph nodes. Okay, in the posterior aspect. Again, observe the direction. Okay, you see, these are the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, fourth one. See, you have already seen this in your dissection, right? This is the vertical group. Again, this is the fourth, right? Observe that. Okay, fourth. Again, you see the 26 number, superficial inguinal lymph nodes. 26. Here somewhat hypertrophied. Okay, lymph nodes are hypertrophied in this specimen. That's why they are more clear, right? Coming to the deep inguinal lymph nodes, they are about 4 to 5 in number and lie on the medial side of the upper part of the femoral vein in the femoral triangle, right? So medial side of the upper part of the femoral vein. The most proximal node of this group, also called as gland of Cloquet or node of Rosenmuller, lies in the femoral canal. So the lymph node, okay, lymph node that lies in the femoral canal is Rosenmuller. So these nodes receives afferent from superficial inguinal lymph nodes, popliteal nodes. You see, observe this superficial inguinal lymph nodes, popliteal nodes. Again, penis and clitoris, deep lymphatics of the lower limb accompanying the femoral vessel. Their afferent vessels from the deep inguinal lymph nodes drain into external iliac nodes after piercing the femoral septum, which closes the femoral ring. So these deep inguinal lymph nodes drains into the external iliac nodes, right? By piercing femoral septum and femoral ring. So you see, these are the, you see, deep inguinal lymph node of Cloquet node, right? Femoral vein. Okay. So all of these are from different popliteal. Okay. You see external iliac nodes, right? So from deep they go into the external iliac. Okay. These are the deep. These are the superficial. The popliteals. You see, these are the deep inguinal lymph nodes and superficial inguinal lymph nodes, right? Deep ones are going into the external iliac. Okay. Coming to the popliteal lymph nodes. Popliteal lymph nodes, about 3 to 6 in number, lie embedded in the popliteal pad of fat near the termination of the small saphenous vein. One node lies between popliteal artery and oblique popliteal ligament. Population node receive afferent from territory of the small saphenous vein. That means lateral side of the foot, heel, and lateral half of the back of the leg. Right? Lateral side of the foot and heel, back of the leg. Deep parts of the leg running along the anterior and posterior tibial vessels in the knee joint. Right? Efferent from the popliteal nodes runs along the popliteal and femoral vessels to terminate in the deep inguinal nodes. So from all the way to the popliteal lymph nodes to the deep inguinal lymph nodes. Popliteal lymph nodes are unique in the sense that they are the only deep nodes which receive both superficial and deep lymph vessels. You see, these are the popliteal, okay, behind the knee. Coming to the anterior tibial lymph node is an inconsistent node found along the upper part of the anterior tibial artery. Inconsistent means sometimes present and sometimes not. When present, it receives afferent from the anterior compartment of the leg, okay, and its efferents pass into the popliteal nodes, right? Again, it goes into the popliteal node, which ultimately goes into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. Lymphatics, so that means lymph vessels. Again, these are superficial and deep. Superficial lymphatics are larger, more numerous than the deep lymphatics. They run in superficial fascia. They form two mainstreams. Okay, most of them, the mainstream, follow the great saphenous vein. Okay, drain into the lower vertical group of superficial inguinal lymph nodes. The remaining one, accessory stream, follow the small saphenous vein and drains into the popliteal lymph nodes. Again, these popliteal lymph nodes drain into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. Right? So, mainstream and accessory stream. Deep lymphatics are smaller, fewer. They drain all structures lying deep to the deep fascia. So, they lie to the deep fascia. That is why it's called as deep lymphatics. They run along main blood vessels of the lower limb and drain into the deep inguinal lymph nodes either directly or indirectly through the popliteal nodes. Right? The deep lymphatics from the gluteal region and upper part of the back of the thigh accompany the gluteal vessels and drain into the internal iliac node. So, deep lymphatics from the gluteal region directly empties into internal iliac nodes. Right? So, this is a everything internal common iliac nodes, external iliac lymph nodes, inguinal lymph nodes, superficial, and these are the deep, okay, and these are popliteal lymph nodes, deep and superficial. Okay, go through this diagram, right? Very helpful. Elephantiasis. Okay, so the lymph vessels of the lower limb are often blocked, and particularly in the endemic areas by the microfilarial parasites, Wuchereria bancrofti. This causes massive edema of the lower limb, producing a clinical condition called as elephantiasis. That means elephantiasis means bodakalu or ఏనుగు కాలు. Okay, very big leg. In this condition, there is hypertrophy of the skin and subcutaneous tissue to an unusual proportion. So you see, this is elephantiasis, right? So this is elephantiasis. Again, enlargement of inguinal lymph nodes. Commonest cause of swelling in the subinguinal regions are enlargement of inguinal lymph nodes. Common cause of these lymph nodes is infection, boil or abscess in the drainage area. Other causes are filariasis, Hodgkin's disease. The enlarged inguinal node should be differentiated from the ectopic testis, femoral hernia, and psoas abscess. Okay, so you see, those are the superficial inguinal lymph nodes, right? They are superficial. You see, so they are superficial. So they are superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, they are deep inguinal lymph nodes. Okay, so they are not, ideally they should not be visible, right? Okay, okay, so they are not visible. Okay, so So this is the whole lymphatic system of the lower limb. Okay, right? So if you see, these are the popliteal lymph nodes, right? Popliteal lymph nodes receiving from the leg. So you see the lymphatics going all the way to the deep lymph nodes, right? So these are the lymph nodes. These are external iliac, and all of them are commencing into the thoracic duct. Okay, cisterna chyli, and again thoracic duct. So this is the lymphatic system, right? So those are the inguinal region, right? So that is the whole lymphatic system. Any doubts? Any doubts? Let me know, right?